Hello and welcome to our channel. I'm one half of the Hassewells, the other half is not here today because we're actually going to be making his birthday cake. He does know about it, it's impossible to keep anything from him with COVID and being in the house all the time, but he's popped out for the moment. So today we're going to make a Black Forest cake, which I've never made before, so it could all go horribly wrong, but then you'll probably never see it if it does. This recipe is one by Lucy on Bake Play Smile, and it was just one of the first results that came up that looked easy enough to do. A lot of the recipes for Black Forest cake have kirsch, and I didn't want to buy a cherry liqueur. Well, I did want to buy a cherry liqueur, but I didn't buy a cherry liqueur, so we've gone for the easy one that doesn't involve the alcohol, and will hopefully not be as difficult. We'll see. So come with me on this journey. I'll put the link to the original recipe below, and we're going to turn this gluten-free, so I'll put my new ingredients up here on the side for a minute, and you can screenshot that if you would like. But let's get started. So I've got the ingredients that we need to start out with here, and the first thing is 250 grams of plain flour. So we've got our friend the scales, turn them on, got our 250 grams of flour in. Basically we just need to add in all of the, or most of the dry ingredients for the cake first, because we're making the cake to start with. So we're sifting all the things that need to be sifted, and then we'll add a couple of the other dry ingredients that don't need to be sifted, and then we'll continue making the cake. Next up is 90 grams of cocoa powder. Clear scales. That's a lot of cocoa powder. It's going to be super chocolatey, but then Black Forest cake is, hey. There's the cocoa, sift that. Next up is 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2, and a teaspoon and a half of bicarb soda. A teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, so we'll sift the rest of that in. Grab a spoon to help out. And then we just need to add the white sugar and the salt, and then we'll get on to some wet ingredients. That was 100 grams so far before I ran out. I'm just using caster sugar because I don't have just plain white sugar, and hopefully it works the same. And a pinch of salt. We need to mix all these dry ingredients together, get rid of all those sugar lumps before we add in the wet ingredients. Oh, there's dry ingredients flying everywhere in this kitchen. It's a good thing Jesse's not here, he'd go into a sneezing fit. And now we'll pop away all of these dry ingredients and get out some wet ingredients. We need 250 grams of milk. You probably use lactose free if that's a problem for you. Next up is 110 grams of oil. Then we put our eggs in. 2 eggs are needed for this recipe. Hopefully leave the eggshell out. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Look at me, actually measuring my vanilla. What's the world coming to? See, I can do it. Okay, so now I need to beat this until it's well combined. It says about 30 seconds. And while I'm at it, I might boil some water because that's gonna be the next ingredient. Oh, and you guessed it, I forgot to preheat the oven. So we're gonna do that now. It says 170 degrees Celsius. As per usual, I'm going to set mine a bit lower because my oven's really hot, but you do you. And 250 grams of boiling water going in. And now I need to beat that for a further minute, it says, on high. It's a very sloppy mixture, so fingers crossed. Okay, so now we just need to pour this into these 2 tins and bake them for 30 minutes and hope that it turns out like a cake. Tastes good though. We're up to making the cream icing. Got all the ingredients here for that. All the ingredients, there's like 3 of them. It's not very complex. It says 400 mils of cream, but I have a 600 ml jar. Is that what you call this? So I'm just gonna put it all in. If there's leftover, I can make a mousse out of it. You can see how it ends and see what you wanna do. In with the cream. Next up is 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'll give it a taste test after because the proportions will be off since I put in more cream, but we'll just see how we go. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm even gonna measure it again. Look at me go. And then we need to beat this until it's nice and thickly whipped. That's a pretty firm whip. Now we just need to set this aside in the fridge until we're ready to use it and move on to the cherry mixture. Now, the cherry mixture. We need 600 grams of pitted morello cherries in a jar that has the liquid in there, because the first thing we're going to do is drain the liquid. So we'll put this into a sieve and drain that syrup out, but we're saving the cherries for later. Out of the way for now. And we need 5 tablespoons of corn flour. I wish I had this in the nice little containers, but I don't. Trusty tablespoon. 1. I was probably closer to 2. 3, 4, 5. If you can hear incessant knocking, it's our neighbours. It's been going on for at least a week and I have no idea what it is, but it's really annoying in the morning when you think someone's knocking on the door and they're not. And we need a 1/4 cup of caster sugar. I put my scales away, but it's also 55 grams if you've still got your scales out. Pop that in. And then we're going to need to take this to the stovetop. So we need to stir the cherry mixture continuously on medium heat until it starts to thicken. And then we need to add in the rest of the cherries and stir it until it thickens up nicely, and then we'll come back over here. Now that we've got that mixture all thickened, we need to put it in a bowl and stick it in the fridge until it's completely cold. So we'll just do that. Whoa, everything started happening there for a while, but I managed to check on the cakes while I was stirring the cherry mixture as well, and put them in for another 5 minutes. So I'll grab those out in a second and hopefully they'll be good to go. The cakes are out and they look like cakes! Yay! We didn't totally fail yet, anyway. There was a birthday maybe 2 years ago where I made a cake for Jessie, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I used coffee grounds instead of instant coffee and it tasted awful. And it went in the bin, though we did try valiantly to eat it, so fingers crossed this one's better. We are just going to cool these in the tin for 10 minutes and then we'll transfer them onto a wire rack to cool completely. Everything else is in the fridge cooling off, and then we'll come back and assemble this. So now it's time to put the cake together. First step, a layer of cream. And then we're going to put some of this cherry mixture on top of that. And once you're happy with the amount of cherry going on there, we'll put our top half of the cake on top of the bottom half of the cake. And then we'll put the icing on the top of that. I think I will end up turning this leftover cream into a chocolate mousse. A cheap version, the kind without egg, where you just add chocolate from here basically, melted chocolate, and whip it a little bit more and then put it in some serving bowls. So that's a easy little second recipe if you end up with too much cream. But back to this, now we've got to figure out how to decorate it. So I think what I might do is shave some chocolate on the top, and then I'll see what I can do with some form of piping bag and the cherry mixture at the end. If it ends up looking awful, it'll still taste good. And there we go, a gluten-free Black Forest cake. I would taste test it now, but I can't because it's a birthday cake. So if we remember, we'll do a clip tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll just update you on whether it tasted good or not. But I have a good feeling about this one. It looks pretty decadent. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos from us, hit subscribe down below and we'll see you in the next one. What's the verdict on the cake?
Very good. You've done well. I've quickly consumed it, so it must be pretty good. And you would have no idea that it's gluten-free either. None.
Success.
Perfect.
Happy birthday to Jessie. Choke on some cocoa. There for the minute. Went well. I need this 4K footage of me doing this. Whoa! Whoa! Pour carefully. When you go to check on your cake and this happens, glasses wearers, am I right? 1 eternity later. Well, first thing we're going to do is open the jar. Actually. Ugh. Dear Lord, why? Jessie! Ugh. Hey! Who needs a man anyway? Hey, a bowl. A bowl though?